So, in the last video, we talked about how you can move yourself up. So, we talked about Bloom's taxonomy, we talked about the different levels of it. So, in this video, we're going to talk about how can you get better and move yourself up Bloom's taxonomy. Okay? So, how you're going to do it is you're going to use the study cycle with intense study sessions. Okay? So, what is the study cycle? All right. So, most college courses are broken up into this format. You attend class, you're given homework, right? So you attend a class, you study that homework assignment, and then you are tested on that learning, okay? That is the general format of most college courses. Um, I would say most students are pretty good at attending classes, and I would say most students at some point do indeed study the material before they get tested on it. However, I would bet that the practices of the best students would do these following, add these additional things to their classes. They're going to first preview the class. So before you show up to class, or if you're taking an online class, you quickly skim or try to identify what are the primary topics that this course is supposed to do. All right. So you typically look at those topics. You might write some questions down. Try to ask yourself, what am I doing? Why, or like, what are we going to do in today's class? What is the main things I need to take away from the lecture? After they get through class, right, they review their notes quickly. It doesn't have to be a long period of time, and they try to understand if there's any questions that they have. That way, they can kind of go to their instructor or go to the textbook or talk to their classmates and try to identify what are those gaps in their knowledge. Once they review, then they do their homework. All right. If there's any, they do it repetitively and throughout the week, not just the day before the exams, and they are able to identify what, if they need help, they are able to identify it quickly and get help quickly. All right. And then the last thing they do is that after they get their exams back and their quizzes back, they try to assess what were the concepts that they were able to understand and what concepts they weren't able to understand. And by doing that, they are able to figure out what material they still have to review before they move on to the next material in the class. And they're able to make sure that if they were making mistakes in the course, they don't continue to hurt them in the later parts of the course. All right, this is very critical in most mathematics, science, and engineering courses, is that you do not continue to make the same mistakes that you did at the start of the course at the end of the course. All right, because often you need to do the stuff that you learned at the beginning of the course to do the harder, more difficult material at the end of the course. All right. So, here are some ways that you can apply the metacognitive strategies to your study sessions. All right. So, you're going to solve homework problems without looking at an example or a solution. So after you've gone through class, you've probably seen maybe an example problem or two. You should know the material. You have your notes. Try to do the homework problems in the textbook. Right? You've been given the homework. You've been given homework problems on like that you've been assigned to do. Try to do them without looking at an example or looking at the solution. That's going to really give yourself the best chance, because what that will do is you'll try to solve it. If you don't get the right answer, like when you check your answer, you can try to evaluate and determine where did you go wrong. Look back at the notes at that point if you didn't get the problem right. Is there anything that speaks out to you about why your method that you chose does not fit maybe the method that was introduced in the class? Try the problem again. If you still don't get the right answer, maybe then you could look at the solution. But if you look at the solution, try to identify why you went wrong and make sure that you continue to practice on a new problem. If you don't do that, it's going to be really you're not going to be able to, you might not be able to do that, apply that same material on the exam and the quiz, which is your ultimate goal, right? You want to do good well on the exams and the quizzes. You want to show the instructor that yes, indeed, you can do these tasks and you understand these tasks. So make sure you do that when you get to the exam. So the best way to do that is practice your problems. Try to make sure that you're confident that you can answer any problem in that textbook. All right. And then the last few things that I think are important is make sure that you are always thinking about why am I doing this? How should I do this? And what if something changes in the problem? How would I approach the problem at that point? Try to talk to other students by giving mini lectures on concepts. Try to always spend time on MME 211 every day. This is very important if you're teaching an online course. And then the next thing is to try to use the study cycle with intense study sessions. So meaning like do not try to study for 4 hours in a row. It's really difficult. You're gonna get less efficient. So try to break up your studying into like 1 hour to 1.5 hours at most sessions. Where at the and like when you get an hour and a half in, hour 15 minutes in, take a little break. Do something where you can like walk around the building, go outside, do something a little different, come back, do the next study session, and I would say no more than 3 study sessions in a row. Try to do maybe between 4 to 5 of those hour to hour and a half study sessions a day, but cap yourself at a point. You're not perfect, all right? And then the last thing is seek help from your instructors. That's what we're here for. We are here to help you. So pay attention to when their office hours are. Email them if you can't make their office hours. Try to find a way to talk to your instructors. All right. All right. So the last thing here is you can use different study strategies. So one of the common things is chapter maps or concept maps. And the idea here is that you're going to be introduced to a ton of material. All right, it's very difficult to remember everything that's being presented. So if you can put it into some sort of graphical format and identify some type of relationship between everything that you've learned in the class, and you can do it on like a short one-page thing, it will really help you identify how everything is related in terms of like a bigger picture. This is especially very useful towards like the end of a course or right before like a midterm exam. All right, so comparing and contrasting, all right, is another thing that you can do. If you have two concepts in a class, so in this class we have the dot product, the cross product, we have finding the moment about a point versus the moment about an axis, we have a couple moment versus the moment about a point. You can think about how are these things the same, how are they different, and just so you can be clear to that you understand the differences and when you would apply one method and when you would apply another method. All right. So that concludes this video. In the next video, we're going to talk about how your action, just a sort of reflection on what you are currently doing in your courses and your studying so far.